Chill with Larry Megan.
Well, good evening and welcome to Chillin' with Larry Megan on a Thursday night. You know, Ronnie, we keep saying we're going to make a new intro for the show. You know, one of these days we're going to get around to it. We'll keep the music, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's my theme right there, you know, with Chet Baker. But welcome to Chillin' with Larry Megan. It's been a while since we've done a live show, a few weeks now. And I'm really looking forward to this show because we're going to feature one of my favorite films in the classic film zone. You know, for those of you who kind of know my taste, you know I love Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly. And we're going to take a look at Take Me Out to the Ballgame from 1949 with both Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly. And here's one that, you know, we don't show very often. I mean, this might be the first time we've ever shown an Esther Williams movie in the classic film zone. But she really is fantastic. And we'll talk about Esther Williams when we get to the movie. And we're going to have our friend Barbie Rosene join us when we get to the classic film zone. And we should get to that probably in about 20 or 30 minutes. And we'll get to that. If you're new to Acorn TV and Chillin' with Larry Megan, then by all means, please click on the Facebook button over on the right-hand side of the monitor right there. And please do like our Facebook page. Also, you're going to notice on the screen right there, right above my head, you'll see the studio line and also the Skype line. So if you want to call in, we're going to talk about the Lakers tonight. I'm going to also touch on the Jets. It's really my two primary teams that I follow, at least, okay, I like the Yankees, but it's out of season right now. But I also like the Jets, and I like the Lakers. And both the Jets and the Lakers are somewhat of an embarrassment right now, and so it's kind of disheartening. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. I just feel like I have to get it off my chest what I feel about the Lakers. So if you're a basketball fan or a football fan and you want to talk a little bit of sports, by all means, jump in and grab the line right now. We only have the one line to the studio. If you have video Skype, then we can put you on a split screen. Just go ahead and Skype to Acorn TV. Okay, well, listen, lots have been going on since I've done a live show. I know I get quite a few messages and emails from people wanting to know, you know, when are we going to see you on Shop NBC again? I'm not doing Shop NBC anymore. At least not right now. And we hired, you know, Justin Zimmer for Sterling Original. I'm still with Sterling Original, of course. But as far as handling our on-air duties with Shop NBC, we've got Justin handling that, and he's doing a great job. And I'm sure you all love Justin. But, I mean, we put the word out 3-4 months ago about this, and yet people still put on my Facebook page, you know, when are we going to see you, you know? So I'm not coming back to Shop NBC for a while. And that's fine. I've got a lot of duties that I'm working on with Sterling Original, and, you know, Justin can handle that. So I have been working on a lot of things, and we're getting into that whole, you know, Christmas time of year now, too, where Thanksgiving's coming up next week, and I was thinking about making a trip out to California for Thanksgiving, and I still may do that at the last minute. We'll see. And, you know, if you have any questions regarding, you know, anything, you know, whether it's with Sterling or whatever, feel free to call in. Now, I want to get to the Lakers. Now, Ronnie, I know you're not that much of a follower of the NBA, right?
Yeah, not this season.
Not this season. Well, you know, actually, the Minnesota team has got an exciting team this year. The Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm up here in Minneapolis. But of course, you know, the Lakers came from Minneapolis.
Right.
And they moved to L.A., and I've been a Laker fan since the early 60s. And I go back all the way to the days when they had, you know, in the 60, 62, 63, 64, when they had Jerry West, and I was a little kid, and Elgin Baylor, and Leroy Ellis, and Darrell Imhoff, and Tommy Hawkins, and, I mean, Hot Rod Hundley. I mean, I remember all these guys. And I've been a fan for, gosh, we're talking close to 50 years now. And it really is sad to see what has happened now to the Lakers. People say, well, what do you mean sad? You know, they have Kobe Bryant. They got Dwight Howard. They got Steve Nash. You know, what more do you want? Well, you know, I know if you're following, you know, the NBA and you know what's going on, the Lakers went 0-8 in the preseason, granted, Kobe was hurt. Howard's coming off back surgery. Nash is up there in age. And they went 0-8 in the preseason. They lost their first 3 games of the regular season, so they were 0-3. They won the next game, and they lost the next game. So they were 1-4 in the preseason, and 0-8 in the 1-4 in the regular season, 0-8 in the preseason for a combined 1-12, and they lost 4 straight at the end of last year. So they really had gone, if you stop and think about it, with Mike Brown as their coach, they had gone 1-16. Stop and think about that. In a 17-game stretch, whether it was last season, preseason and this season, the Los Angeles Lakers had won 1 game out of 17. And I guess the management had seen enough, and they said, Mike Brown, you're fired. Now, I know there are people out there that believe that it was too quick of a hook. He got the axe too quickly. Personally, I don't think he did get the axe too quickly. If anything, I think they should have changed coaches before the season began. And nothing against Mike Brown. He's a very likable guy. You know, I thought maybe when they brought him in, hey, maybe he'll finally bring some defense to this team. But when I watched that first game of the season, that opening night when Dallas came into L.A. without Dirk Nowitzki, and literally they blew the Lakers out on their home court. I was talking on the phone to a friend of mine who's a big Laker fan back in L.A., and after that first game, I said they need to get rid of Mike Brown. They are going to have to bring in a coach. And even then, I was saying Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson, we knew he's out there. He's had his time to recharge his batteries. Now he's been out of the game, and the Lakers are built to win now. You know, Kobe is getting up there in age. He's in his 17th NBA season. They made a huge gamble. Here's Phil and Kobe with one of their, or I guess with a couple of their NBA title trophies there. But they made a huge gamble in going out there and making the trade for Dwight Howard. And I commend the Laker organization for doing that trade, because when you stop and think about it, Dwight Howard has 1 year remaining on his contract. And he flat out told Orlando and the Lakers, if you trade me and I go to the Lakers, I am not going to sign a new deal. I'm going to play it out. And the Lakers knew that, but they took the gamble anyway. They traded Bynum. Now, Bynum only had 1 year remaining on his contract too, but if the Lakers really wanted to keep Bynum, they could have given him a new deal for the next 5 or 6 years, and they could have done that. I think it was a good thing to trade Bynum, because he's too unreliable, he's too fragile, he gets hurt all the time, and even when he's not hurt, you never know when he's going to show up. So I think the Lakers did the right thing in trading Bynum in that package, a 3-way trade, but nevertheless, it was a gamble to bring in a guy who flat out said he would not sign a new contract. So there's a very good likelihood the Lakers have now traded a commodity like Bynum. Dwight Howard comes here for 1 season, and here's Big Dwight, who's a specimen. I mean, the man's a physical specimen. He's like 6'11", 7 foot, and he's built like a Greek god. But nevertheless, he plays out 1 season, and he could fly the coop and be gone. And so the Lakers took that gamble that if Dwight Howard comes to L.A. and he gets a feeling for what L.A. is all about, what the Lakers are all about, with their history of great center play with Kareem and Shaq and Wilt Chamberlain and George Mikan and down through the years, that Dwight can be the next guy for the next 7 or 8 years here in L.A., and he can be that big center in L.A. And also, if they win a title, he won't want to leave. So they took a gamble, and they brought him here, and I give them credit for that. So now it's really is win or bust. And they start off the preseason 0-8. They look terrible in the first game. They look even worse in the second game. The Clippers blow the doors off of them, which, by the way, the Clippers have a great team. It seems like they have every player in the league now is on the Clippers. It's unbelievable what they have now. But anyway, they had to trade Mike Brown, because there's two things that are happening here. One, the window for a championship with Kobe on the team is closing quick. And two, you have to keep Dwight Howard past this season. So they made the coaching, they fired Brown. And when they did, I think everybody felt that they must have a deal in place with Phil Jackson or they would not have fired Mike Brown. And they were saying they hadn't contacted Jackson, but everybody knows that Phil Jackson is dating Dr. Buss's daughter, Jeannie Buss. So, how difficult is it to have a phone call to know that he's available or he's interested in the job or he wants the job? There had already even been some leaks that even the day before Mike Brown was fired, that Phil Jackson had actually made phone calls to some of his assistant coaches to see about their availability as far as putting together his staff with the Lakers. So it almost seemed like it was a done deal. Well, you probably know the story. They fired Mike Brown on a Friday. Bernie Bickerstaff, coached the team on an interim basis on that Friday night. And then on Saturday, they met with Phil Jackson. And depending upon who you want to listen to and who you want to believe, and listen, I've always had a few issues with Phil Jackson. I think he's the best coach out there for sure. But whatever my issues with Phil were, never, ever did I accuse the man of not having integrity. I think everybody would agree that Phil Jackson is a man of integrity, okay? And so I choose to believe Phil. Phil made a statement saying that he met with the Lakers on Saturday and never once was the issue of money brought up. And also, he didn't make any demands regarding travel restrictions, as some of the irresponsible reporting came out that he was asking for travel restrictions and not necessarily go to all the road games. Phil is way too much of a competitor to, even think that, hey, I'm not going to go to all the road games and we're going to compete for a title, okay? And you kind of knew that was kind of bogus. And according to Phil, he was told by Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss that, think it over and let's talk again on Monday and let's sleep on it and let's talk again on Monday. Give us your answer on Monday. Well, the Lakers did sleep on it. And on Sunday, they decided, that we're going to talk to Mike Dunleavy and we're going to talk to Mike D'Antoni. And Sunday, just after midnight, they called Phil Jackson, woke him up out of bed, and told him that we've hired Mike D'Antoni. So Phil never got, and this is Mike D'Antoni here. And he's a very good coach. He's very well respected. Kobe Bryant likes this guy. Kobe Bryant, I don't want to say idolized him, but he certainly was a big fan of D'Antoni growing up in Italy. D'Antoni was a star in the Italian league. And of course, Kobe's father played with Mike D'Antoni in that league. And so part of Kobe's childhood was growing up in Italy. So he goes all the way back, as a child with Mike D'Antoni. Of course, the Lakers in the offseason brought two-time MVP Steve Nash, to the Lakers. And Nash won those MVPs with Mike D'Antoni with the Phoenix Suns. And he played under Mike D'Antoni for 5 years. And I think it's fair to say that Mike D'Antoni's offensive style and system are largely responsible for Steve Nash winning those MVPs. So you think about it in those terms. And also Dwight Howard has spent time with Mike D'Antoni as far as with the U.S., not only, the U.S. basketball team, whether it was in the World Championships or on the Olympics. Now, of course, Dwight Howard didn't play in the Olympics in 2012 because he had his back surgery. But in 2010, he was with USA Basketball. Mike D'Antoni is an assistant coach with that team. And so Dwight Howard has a relationship with Mike D'Antoni. So from that respect, they can have this, kumbaya atmosphere in the Laker locker room where, Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, and Dwight Howard can all feel good about Mike D'Antoni. So from that respect, you could say it makes sense. But when you dig deeper, it really is a horrible hire, in my opinion, because, and in many people's opinion, Phil Jackson, of course, has 11 championship rings. He's won 11 championships as a head coach. He also got a championship ring as a player, by the way, with the New York Knicks. And Phil did all the dirty work on that team. He was a rebounder. He was like a Dennis Rodman of his day. that type of player. I'm old enough to remember Phil Jackson as a player, and he was a kind of a roughneck. But nevertheless, Phil Jackson has won more titles than Red Auerbach. Red Auerbach had 10. The legendary, mythical, iconic coach of the Boston Celtics had 10 championship rings as a coach. Phil has eclipsed him now with 11. There's no other coach that's even close, okay? And, of course, Mike D'Antoni has never even had a team make it to the finals, let alone win a championship. Now, in all fairness, the one season it looked like he was going to, Stoudemire got hurt and Robert Horry hip-checked Steve Nash into the bench and broke his nose, when it looked like they were going to, beat the San Antonio Spurs and get to the finals, but, they didn't. So they turned to D'Antoni. And really what it boils down to, again, depending upon who you want to believe, and I'm going with Phil Jackson, and I'm going with sources like Chris Broussard and also Stephen A. Smith. Those guys they're like on the inside, and they do have tremendous sources. And it doesn't take, too much of a rocket scientist to see what's going on here. Dr. Jerry Buss owns the Lakers, and he has now for 33 years. But he's obviously getting up there in age, and so he has now handed over the basketball operations to his son, Jim Buss. And so Jim Buss's title is actually owner in transition. He's the owner in transition, okay? Basically what you have here is you have a silver spoon kid. You have a rich kid that's been handed this toy to manage and to operate and run. Everything Jim Buss has done since he's been in there has been laughable. It was Jim Buss that was absolutely insistent upon Andrew Bynum and keeping Andrew Bynum. After they saw the guy couldn't stay healthy, he was lazy, he kept him. Kobe wanted to trade Bynum years ago. He told him he doesn't have what it takes. He didn't listen to Kobe. He took it as his personal project on Bynum. He stayed with Bynum. Kobe, wanted to trade him for Chris Paul years ago. Okay. So that was kind of in my opinion, a mistake. But here, last year, and this is what really sent up major red flags about Jim Buss. Last year, when the Lakers tried to make a trade, Lamar Odom and Pau Gasol for Chris Paul, it was such a ridiculous deal to give up two, frontline players like that for one, that the league stepped in. The NBA actually stepped in and they negated the trade. They said, no, we're not authorizing this trade. You can't do it, which is almost unprecedented. I'm sure it's happened before, but it's so rare that the league has to step in and actually put the kibosh on a trade. But they felt like they had to do it in this case because it was such a ridiculous deal. Gasol and Odom for Chris Paul, it was ridiculous. And I'm glad that they nixed that deal. The problem is, though, the league nixed it. Chris Paul was very upset. He wanted to sue the league because Chris Paul wanted to come to the Lakers. But on the other side of the deal, there were two Lakers who their feelings were very hurt, and that was Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom. Now, Pau Gasol, he's a European. He's from Spain, and he's probably, let's be honest about it, he's more mature, more mentally and psychologically mature than Lamar Odom, and he recognizes this is just business. And to Pau Gasol's credit, he got over it very quickly. Lamar Odom was really upset, and truthfully, he pouted like a little baby, okay? And he said that, if you don't want me here, then I don't want to be here. And he didn't come to practice. Now, remember, this was before the season even began. It's not like he walked out on a game and didn't show up for a game. He didn't come to a practice in preseason the day after they tried to trade him, okay? So he pouted like a little baby. And he said, if you don't want me here, then just trade me. So without even giving it, literally 24 hours. It was like within 12 hours, Jim Buss said, trade him, give him away. I don't care. Now, you're talking about Lamar Odom. He won this. He had his best year of his career last year, the year before, because we're talking about the beginning of last season. He won the Sixth Man of the Year award, and he almost made the All-Star team. In fact, he probably deserved to be on the All-Star team, but he wasn't a starter. But to almost make the All-Star team when you're a sixth man is unbelievable. He almost did, and he did win the Sixth Man of the Year. And Jim Buss had a little temper tantrum, and it's one thing to trade the guy. Okay, fine. You want to trade him, but you got to get something back for someone of that value. Okay, and he had tremendous value at that time. Lamar Odom's stock has gone way down since then, but at that time, his value was incredible. They got nothing for him. They gave him away. They took a future draft pick for him, a player which is they don't even get a guy back that can help him for that season. Jim Buss had his ego bruised, and he threw a tantrum, and he gave him away. And they said, oh, well, we're clearing cap space. Well, that's ridiculous in itself. Clearing cap space is never a guarantee of anything. Just ask the New York Knicks. The Knicks spent 2 years clearing cap space to get LeBron James. Well, what good did that do you? You never got him. It didn't come. So clearing cap space is a waste of time, okay? And to give away a player before the season begins to clear cap space is ridiculous. That right there told you something about Jim Buss. That was a laughable mistake. Hiring Mike Brown was a huge mistake. Okay, now at the time I thought, well, maybe he'll be good for the Lakers. But the reality is, when you hear the stories that Jim Buss had a meeting and he didn't, with Mike Brown, he liked the way he sounded in the meeting, and then he didn't even stay for the whole meeting. He left halfway through the meeting. And he said, I like the way that guy sounded in the meeting, and they hired Mike Brown. And Mike Brown never got Cleveland over the hump. They did get to the finals with LeBron James, but they never won the whole thing. And I don't want to bash on Mike Brown because he's a good man and he's a pretty good coach. But when you're coaching the LA Lakers, you're talking about, one of the primo, coaching positions in all of sports. Manage the New York Yankees, coach the LA Lakers, the Boston Celtics. These are primo spots. And it really does take, a special kind of a charisma and character and persona to handle that. It's not just X's and O's. And it really turned out that it was not a good hire. But what's really, it's one thing to take chances. That's fine. We can always take chances. But the other side of it, too, is that Jim Buss never even consulted with Kobe Bryant. And I'm sure there's people out there that's saying, why should he? Why should he consult with one of the employees? They own the team. He can hire whoever he wants. Why should he? In pro sports, it doesn't work that way. The athletes are not employees. They are assets. And the value of your franchise is directly relatable to, the assets that you have on that team. And you're talking about a 5-man roster. Kobe Bryant is pivotal to winning a championship. He should have talked to Kobe. He didn't even consult with Kobe. Okay? And Kobe's earned that right. And they just went and hired Mike Brown, and it turned out to be an $18 million mistake because the very next season, he fired him 5 games into the season, and he has to pay Mike Brown $14 million to go away. So the Lakers are rich. They can afford it. They just signed a new 20-year, $3 billion TV contract for local television. Local television, $3 billion for 20 years. That's $150 million per season for the next 20 years for local TV. Now, those revenues that's not part of revenue sharing. The other teams don't get that money. Okay, the Lakers get their part of revenue share for national TV, but what each team gets for local TV, that's for the Lakers. Now, because of the soft cap in basketball, the Lakers can't go and just spend it all on contracts because there's a maximum per player. But nevertheless, the Lakers just have to now pay Mike Brown $14 million to walk away because Jim Buss didn't think it through. Didn't consult with anybody, and he thought the guy sounded good in an interview, and he said, we're going to go with him. And at that time, all Jim Buss wanted to do was clear every evidence, every shred of Phil Jackson out of the building. Everybody at that time was saying the right hire for the Lakers at that time when Phil wanted to, go, retire or go on sabbatical or leave the game. He likes to recharge his batteries. Was Brian Shaw was the right guy. Everybody, Kobe wanted Brian Shaw. Everybody wanted Brian Shaw. But you know what? Jim Buss didn't want any part of anybody that was connected to Phil Shaw to still be in that building. The ball boys, the janitors, that doesn't matter. Everybody who had any connection to Phil Jackson was gotten out of that was cleansed out of the organization. Okay? Now, why does he have this kind of hatred for him? Well, maybe it has something to do with his sister, that Phil Jackson is dating his sister and he's like 20 years older than his sister or 30 years older. And, who knows? Maybe that bothers him. Okay? But when you listen to people like Stephen A. Smith and Chris Broussard, who they have contacts on the inside, they say things like Jim Buss's ego couldn't handle Phil Jackson. It was like his power was immediately reduced when Phil Jackson came into the building. So he didn't like having his power reduced. It was a power trip by nothing more than a spoiled little rich kid whose daddy gave him the team. And what everybody says was that it was Dr. Buss that stepped in and said, we're not going to do this anymore. And it was Dr. Buss that ordered the firing of Mike Brown. But it was Jim Buss now that went with D'Antoni because he didn't want Phil Jackson. And Jim Buss got his father to sign off on it. Why do we have to pay Phil Jackson $20 to $24 million? We can get D'Antoni for 12, or really 12 for 3 years, but we can get D'Antoni for 8. Okay. And so his dad went along with it because it made sense from the standpoint of the players are comfortable with D'Antoni. But the reality is D'Antoni's never coached defense. His teams have never done anything. What he did in New York was a travesty. I was in New York when D'Antoni was the coach of the Knicks. As soon as he got run out of town by Carmelo Anthony, the Knicks went on a winning streak with Mike Woodson, and they rehired Mike Woodson. And right now the Knicks are 5-0, unless they lost tonight. But right now, I mean, what Mike Woodson has done with that team since D'Antoni got run out of there. Now, people say he actually resigned, but he was forced to resign. He was fired, okay? He was run out of there. What they've done, since D'Antoni has been kicked out is evidence enough of what you're going to get with Mike D'Antoni, okay? And so really, basically the whole thing is a joke. In my opinion, Chick Hearn is rolling over in his grave right now, and one of the happiest guys I think that's out there. First of all, I think a lot of the other powerful teams in the West are very happy, like probably Mark Cuban with Dallas, San Antonio, Oklahoma City. They're all thrilled that Phil Jackson, is not the coach of the Lakers. But I think somewhere up in Northern California, where Jerry West is an executive with the Golden State Warriors, I think somewhere up there, Jerry West is smiling. I believe that. And the reason I say that is because it was probably about, I want to say about 10 years ago. We'd have to look it up, maybe 10, 11 years ago. Jerry West, he left the Lakers. He got a $20 million offer to be the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies. And, of course, Dr. Buss, especially at that time, was not paying his executives $20 million. Jerry West was getting $2 million a season, which was considered a lot. He's not a player anymore. And so Jerry West, who, if anybody out there in the game deserves to get a payday out of basketball, to me it's Jerry West. Maybe you could say Oscar Robertson too, but nevertheless, I'm happy for Jerry West that he got his payday with Memphis, okay? But I think another thing that might have played into it for Jerry West is that he saw the handwriting on the wall, okay? He saw that Dr. Buss has a son. His daughter now works for the organization, and Jeannie has worked for everything she's ever gotten. She's a very intelligent woman. And what goes on with Jeannie has nothing to do with what goes on with Jim. They're two different animals here. But Jerry West probably saw, hey, I'm never going to be on the inside. He's going to hand it over to his son. His son is going to be my boss, who knows nothing about basketball. And Jerry West took the money and ran, and he's probably very lucky that he doesn't have to be involved in all this. And Mitch Kupchak, who was Jerry West's assistant, has been the GM ever since. And now Mitch Kupchak has to come up to the front lines, and he has to, fall on the sword for the team. He has to make it sound like these are his ideas, and Mike D'Antoni's the right guy for the job, and he's the one fronting for Jim Buss, falling on the sword. And I hope that someday Mitch Kupchak is no longer with the organization, and maybe he gets a job in another organization, or he retires or whatever. And I hope he writes a book, okay, about everything that's going on, because Mitch Kupchak is a smart basketball man, and he knows what's been going on behind the scenes. And I hope he writes a tell-all book when he's done with the Lakers. It might be 10 years from now, but at some point, I'd like to hear what really is going on, because the Lakers have become the laughing stock. So I think what Jim Buss is going to learn, this is the final thought on the subject here, is that a sports franchise, it's not like a regular business, like whatever you have a retail business or a service business or whatever. All businesses can be fragile, but a sports franchise is very fragile. The Lakers have been on top now as an upper echelon team. Even when they've had a few little down years, they've been pretty much up since about 1980. So for about 30 years now, they've been one of the elite teams, even when they missed the playoffs a little bit. In the late 70s, the Lakers were horrible. They were out of the playoffs. They couldn't win a game. They were terrible. And that's how they got the first pick and got Magic Johnson, by the way. The Lakers right now, in my opinion, are on the cusp of going into the abyss for the next 10 years because of what just happened this past weekend, last weekend with Phil Jackson. Because if Dwight Howard flees the coop, and he very well could, if he doesn't sign to stay on here for the next 5 years, and it's kind of sad that you have to, sit there and impress a guy to want to come and take your $19 million per year, because that's the max. That's the most you can give the guy is $19 million per year, okay? And you have to sit there and hope that he'll take your money. It's almost a sad commentary on our society, but that's pro sports. If he decides to leave and he goes to Dallas, or he goes to Houston, or he goes to the Brooklyn Nets, or I think Dwight Howard might go to Boston. Garnett's on the end of his career there. Danny Ainge is a very persuasive guy, okay? He could end up in Boston, okay? If Dwight Howard flees the coop, what do you have? Kobe comes back next year for his 18th season. His game is diminished. Let's face it, he's still a stud, but his game is not the same anymore, okay? The Lakers could very easily, with Dwight Howard leaving, Steve Nash is, almost 40 years old now. They don't have any shooters on this team. The Lakers could literally miss the playoffs and fall into the abyss for the next 10 years. Once you fall to the bottom, it's not that easy to get back up on top. And the teams around the NBA are not going to be lining up to help the Lakers, okay? And I think that Jim Buss has basically, is on the verge of ruining what his father has built up for 30 years, what he did here. And you know what? It would serve the Lakers right. And all I have to say on that is, go Heat. All right, that feels good. I feel better now, Ronnie. Okay, listen, we're going to go to the Classic Film Zone in a few minutes. We're going to go to a commercial break. But if anybody wants to chime in on that, call now or forever hold your peace. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. Oh, I did say, and again, feel free to call in. I'd love to talk to you about it. I did say that I wanted to mention quickly about the Jets. I won't go crazy, like I just did now on the Lakers. But it's time for Rex Ryan to go. The Jets are, I don't know who's a bigger laughingstock, the Jets or the Lakers. Probably the Jets are a bigger laughingstock right now in the NFL than the Lakers are in the NBA. Because this is something that Rex Ryan has, he's put his foot in his mouth so many times about telling everybody how great, the Jets are, Jet football, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. And it's great to be confident, but, we have a top 5 defense. I mean, how many times have we heard, Rex Ryan tell everybody we have a top 5 defense, but yet they can't get off the field, on third down. And they've just become a team of, all talk. And, I guess when he first came here a few years ago, when I say here, I mean to New York, it was probably a good thing because they were lacking confidence, and so it gave them an initial bolt of confidence. But Now it's just empty. It's empty. And they played Seattle last weekend, and that was an embarrassment, man. It was 28-7. They scored a defensive touchdown. Their offense is pathetic. I'm done, defending Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez is not a top flight quarterback. And, when the team is now 3-6, it's time. Give Tim Tebow a chance. But yet, Rex Ryan is so stubborn. He's saying, I believe that Mark Sanchez gives us the best chance to win. Well, if Mark Sanchez gives you the best chance to win, you're not going to win. Not in the NFL. You need a top flight guy. They want to put Tim Tebow down and say, he's terrible, and the players are coming out in the paper anonymously saying he's terrible. Well, I would like to know who those players are. Are they on the offense or the defense? If they're on the defense, that's pretty sad, because last year Tim Tebow beat the Jets defense and won a game in the last minute of the game, or last 2 minutes, with the drive down the field. So Tim Tebow beat you, and you're telling everybody how terrible he is, Or if it's somebody on the offense, I think you got a lot of nerve, because you look at this offense and it's pathetic. And I don't mean just Sanchez. Sanchez is horrible. But I think one of the problems with the team this year is they don't have LaDainian and Tomlinson. Tomlinson retired. People say, well, he was old anyway. Well, he might have been old, and he might have been past his prime. But if you watch the games like I watch the games, LT was one of their major threats on third down out of the backfield. He still had pep in his step. He could get that first down. He was a major threat for them. Okay, they don't have him. You have to look at the personnel decisions the Jets have made. Their wide receivers are a bunch of puny little guys, and it's okay to have small wide receivers. If you're Tom Brady, you can have a Wes Welker. Okay, if you're Aaron Rodgers. Okay, you're a big, strong quarterback and all that. You can have little guys, and you can hit them, and they're quick and all that stuff. But if you're Mark Sanchez, you don't have Braylon Edwards anymore, who is a big, 6'5", 6'6" guy. You don't have Plexico Burress, who's another 6'5", 6'6" guy. Okay, they traded him, or they traded Braylon Edwards. They refused to re-sign Plexico. Okay, they let Jericho Cotchery go, who's playing some great football for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. They let go of Brad Smith. They didn't want to sign him. Wouldn't they love to have Brad Smith right about now? They would. They let Lavernius Coles retire. Any of those guys would be an upgrade from the Jets wide receiver position right now. And I know Santonio Holmes is hurt, but you start looking at the personnel on this team, I don't see anything great on this team. There's no weapons. There's no threat. I like Sean Green, but he's a 4 or 5 yard in a cloud of dust kind of guy. He's not one of those explosive kind of guys, not a weapon kind of guy. So, these guys who want to put down Tim Tebow, it's really kind of sad. They can't think outside the box, and they have a caveman for a coach in Rex Ryan, and they have another caveman as an offensive coordinator in Tony Sperano. So the team is a mess. They need a new GM, new head coach, and it's really sad to see what has happened to the Jets. All right, Ronnie, I think it's time. Let's take a break and let's get Barbie on the line. And when we come back, we're going to go to the Classic Film Zone.
Chill with Larry Megan.
ZuluTimeZone.com is the first and only authorized dealer for Offshore Limited in the United States. ZuluTimeZone.com is proud to support Chillin' with Larry Megan and Acorn TV. Use the discount coupon code DAD to receive an additional $20 off per item. ZuluTimeZone.com digs Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Chill with Larry Megan.
Well, we're back, and I think, Ronnie, it's that time of the night we're going to go to. Let's do it. The Classic Film Zone. Hey, Barbie, welcome in.
Hi, Larry. Hi, Ronnie. Hi, everyone.
Good to see you.
It's been so long.
Yeah, it has been, and it's always nice to have you with us, Barbie.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us, before we get into this, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been on tour. I've been on
Oh, we lost it.
that went ocean. Oh, you lost me?
Well, for a second, it kind of cut out there for a second. I think
All right,
I think we're okay now.
Am I too close?
No, you're good. You're good.
I've been singing a lot. I've been on a ship. I've been on the World Ship, which is a condominium boat where people own residences on a ship, and I've been entertaining them. So I was gone for a long time.
Was that out of New York, that ship, or somewhere else?
I picked the ship up in Nome, Alaska.
Oh, my
and
God.
then we went up through the Northwest Passage and to Greenland and then into Quebec. It was pretty major.
Wow, sounds great.
It was good.
Where are you chiming in from tonight? You're not in New York, are you?
No, I'm at my mom's house in Richfield, Ohio.
Very nice. Okay.
Paparazzi, they're all out there.
All right, great, great. Well, anyway, nice to have you back with us, Barbie. Tonight we're going to take a look at Take Me Out to the Ballgame with two of my favorites, Sinatra and Gene Kelly.
This is one of 3 pairings that they had.
Yeah, and I think we featured the other two, of course, Anchors Away and On the Town. And I think this was the second of the 3, was it not?
Yes, and this is actually my favorite. This was a big favorite as a kid.
You know, I would probably agree with you. It's probably my favorite too. I love Anchors Away, but the reason I'll give this one a slight nod is because I prefer Esther Williams to Katherine Grayson. That's the only reason.
Well, I also like Esther Williams. I don't know if I prefer her, but I like the whole swimming thing. And when I was a child, I used to pretend I was Esther Williams.
Well, you want to tell us a little bit about Esther Williams for those out there that are not, familiar with her and who she is and everything?
Okay, well, Esther Williams is actually still alive. And as a teenager, she was a swim champ. I don't know if she was in the Olympics.
No, I can tell you this. Esther Williams, she would have been in the Olympics in 1940. In 1939, she was a senior in high school, and she had 3 national records for her events that she had. And she would have been one of our big Olympic swimmers in 1940. The problem is the Olympics were canceled in 1940 because of World War II.
Right.
But she was, number 1, in 3 different events. She would have been huge for us.
She was beautiful. So she got gypped out of an Olympic career, but she became a movie star. Not a bad trade-off.
Yeah, as a result of the Olympics being canceled, she took a job with, I can't remember the name of it, but it was some kind of, was it Billy Rose's Cavalcade, Aquacade?
Yeah, they actually had a Billy Rose's Aquacade in Cleveland, Ohio, believe it or not, too, on Lake Erie.
Yeah, I think this one was up in San Francisco, and it was Billy Rose's Aquacade, and she was from Southern California. She was from L.A.
Right.
And there was a famous swimmer that they had in there, and I think the swimmer retired or whatever, and they were looking for someone to take the place, and she got the job. And as a result of swimming in Billy Rose's Aquacade, she got discovered by MGM.
Right, and she made some great films. She made Neptune's Darling with
Red Skelton.
I love that one. Loved that as a kid, and then the whole Fernando Lamas thing, and she had some great leading men, and I always thought the stories, they were clever, sweet little musicals.
Yeah, she was really more than a triple threat when you stop and think about it, because she could sing a little, she could dance a little, she was an athlete, she could act, and she's gorgeous. I mean, she was a total package.
I liked her speaking voice too.
Yeah, I love her in this film. I really, really do. And in my research, what I had read was that MGM originally wanted Judy Garland for that spot, but at that time, Judy was having problems with her pill popping.
Well, I hate when they say that, because Judy was having trouble with that, but it was all started by the studio, and I always just feel a little sorry that they're making it be all her responsibility, because she was clearly doing it just to sort of stay alive in the business too.
No question about it. I mean, thank you for saying that, because my heart belongs to Judy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and so Judy was having problems, and then I heard they wanted somebody else too, like maybe Katherine Grayson again.
Oh, right.
Right. But, because when you look at this pairing, this was as you pointed out, this was the second of the 3 Sinatra-Kelly pairings. And in the first one, which was in 1945, was Anchors Aweigh, it was Sinatra, and his love interest was Betty Garrett, and it was Gene Kelly, and his love interest was Katherine Grayson.
Right.
So if they would have had Katherine Grayson again, they would have had the same foursome. So
I'm not thrilled that Sinatra keeps getting Betty Garrett, although I do like Betty Garrett. I'm sorry.
She just passed away like last year,
and I met her. I sat next to her, I don't even know, maybe 12 years ago, when Margaret Whiting was singing somewhere, and I was at a table with Betty Garrett and had a lovely conversation with her. I mean, and she stayed really darling. I mean, she stayed in great shape her whole life. I just never thought she had enough sex appeal for Sinatra.
Well, what I like about it, and I'm going to take the opposite side on you, I love it with her and Sinatra, because, you are correct in the sense that she's not that glamour, she's not that Hedy Lamarr, you know what I mean? She's not that total glamour Ziegfeld girl kind of a thing. But to me, it shows that Sinatra has a comedic side to him. You know what I mean? Because Betty Garrett was a good-looking woman and all that. I think she was beautiful in her own way, her own right. But she was also kind of a funny woman too.
No, I mean, they're clearly the second. In the classic sense of the Broadway pairings, where there's the first couple, and then there's the second couple that's usually the comedic pair. They fit that role. But then I don't know where that leaves Jules Munchin. Betty Garrett and Frank are very cute.
Anyway, I think it shows well of Sinatra, the Betty Garrett character. Betty Garrett, the actress. It just, because everybody knows Sinatra was such a womanizer, and he was madly in love with Ava Gardner. And
I know. Maybe I'm just a little jealous.
You expect to see Sinatra with a bombshell, or Marilyn Monroe or something like that. And to have Sinatra, with Betty Garrett, it adds a whole nother texture and layer to Sinatra. I love that.
More down to earth and more funny and cute. I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm thrilled you're joining us, and I know we didn't have time to share clips and everything, so I'm going to kind of pick them and lead them and get your commentary. Okay.
Okay, that's
I've got a whole bunch of them here. We're not going to show everyone, of course, but I think we need to kind of show the opening of the movie just to kind of set the tone. It's a good old fashioned, MGM Arthur Freed musical. Are you ready?
Yep. Bring it.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hold it, boys. Steady. That's it. All right for you, Pete?
Sure.
All right, boys, change clothes if you want to, but get back to work.
And make it snappy.
Well, Mike, what have you got for us?
Well, we're starting spring training with the same lineup as last year. Taylor behind the bat and Gordon on third.
Goldberg, douse that heater.
And to round out the infield, we're having that old double play combination, O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg.
Maybe.
Huh?
Well, you've got Goldberg all right, but they tell me O'Brien and Ryan ain't showing up this year.
What? Don't make me laugh. Listen, you can tell your readers that O'Brien and Ryan are on the way right here this minute.
And what's more, they've been working out all winter, and they're in the pink.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks, fellas.
What do you hear from O'Brien and Ryan?
Not a word. I sent them 10 telegrams, and they ain't answered one.
Well, here's one real answer. Where are they?
They're in Pottstown, Illinois.
Pottstown, Illinois. Get a pencil paper. Write this down. O'Brien and Ryan, Pottstown, Illinois. Who do you guys think you are? Stop.
Stop.
Get your carcass on the first train to Florida, or I'll throw you both out of baseball.
I'll throw.
Wait a minute. Make a change there. Just say, please, fellas, we need you.
Kelly, the baseball game, knew the players, knew all their names. You could see her there every day, shout hooray when they play. Her boyfriend by the name of Joe said, to Coney Isle, dear, we'll go. Then Nellie started to fret and pout, and to him I heard her shout, hey, take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Chase them all home, you wanna?
Yeah, we wanna.
Why don't you stop stealing bombs, why don't you?
Why don't you mind your own business, why don't you get it?
Ah, you bonehead, I got a notion.
Go on.
Hey, Denny, cut it out, will you?
Hey, you big lug!
Oh, wait a minute, Eddie.
Eddie! Oh, hey! Eddie! Oh,
Dennis, come on, wake up, kid. We're in a hurry.
What happened?
Oh, nothing. This happens all the time.
Does?
Yes, every once in a while he gets illusions. He thinks he's got muscles.
Hey, you're not pulling out, are you?
Yeah, we got to catch a train. We're joining the ball club in Florida.
Oh.
Ah, look. Goodbye, baby doll. See you next season.
Bye.
You know, one of the things that I come away with when I watch that clip, this is 4 years after Anchors Away, is that I think Gene Kelly did a pretty darn good job of making Sinatra a very respectable dancer.
I know, but I mean, I just think Sinatra, I can't believe how he keeps up. I've always thought that.
Well, you know, in Anchors Away, when they had that great dance number where they jump on the beds.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the name of the number?
I don't remember, but I
but
love
yeah,
it.
anyway, it's a great number. But they say that they did something like 73 takes.
Yeah, poor Frank.
Yeah, and you know, of course, that was early in Sinatra's career. Later, he was known as One Take Frank, and
Yeah, but not with Gene around.
But right, exactly. Gene Kelly made him do it over and over and over and over,
Yeah.
And Gene was a taskmaster. So, like I say, I come away with watching that clip thinking that Gene Kelly made Sinatra pretty darn respectable.
Well, I think those were tough times for Frank Sinatra, too. I mean, that was 49. And, he wasn't doing that well at the box office and otherwise. So in many ways, that was, it was a great thing for him.
You're absolutely right. I read also the same thing, that, the only time Sinatra was doing well in those days is when he was paired with Gene Kelly.
Oh, right, yeah. And I mean, Gene Kelly wrote this story. You can see why he's really kind of got the meatier part in a way, but it was his idea to put baseball with vaudeville, which I think is adorable, because that's always been my thing. I actually was a pitcher when I was a kid and had to choose between summer theater and playing softball.
Well, to me, this movie, it reeks of Gene Kelly. And what I mean by that is everybody knows that Gene Kelly was quite the sportsman. He would have volleyball games at his house and tennis at his house, and he was very competitive. The story about, of course, right before Easter parade, he broke his ankle at his house and everything.
Had to do it, or forgot to do it.
And when people came over to play, sports, he was very competitive and he had to win. And Gene Kelly was very much of a very athletic guy, and he always took the position that sports and dancing are really like synonymous with each other. That dancing is like a sport, and the moves in dancing can help you in sports. And of course, later on in his career, he did do a TV series. I think it was in either the late 50s or early 60s, showing how, ballet and the different moves in dancing actually apply to sports.
Oh yeah, and then a lot of those, football players have espoused that idea too, and have done that.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about this movie reeks of Gene Kelly. The whole idea of baseball and the athleticism of the dancing. I mean, if you watch really closely there on the dance that we just saw, the number we just saw, I mean, he's jumping pretty high off the ground and clicking his heels together. That's not that easy to do, It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
It's great.
And I left it, I could have just cut it off after the number was over. I left that little bit on the end there because the way this is the off season, of course, and now they got to get back to spring training. But the way he just kisses that girl and says, okay, see you next year, he's got to go. It kind of, sets it up that Gene Kelly, just like in Anchors Away, he was the wolf and
right.
Frank was the young pup.
I like it. It's cute. It's so against type.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Gene was the married man and Frank was married too, but he had his, what do they say in Italian?
Oh, I don't know. What do they say in Italian?
Oh, come on.
Paramours. Oh, yeah. They use it in The Sopranos all the time. What is that word?
Your mistress, whatever. I forgot already what it is. But anyway, so I've got a real short clip. It's less than 2 minutes here, but this is on the train ride going down to spring training to Florida. And the reason I wanted to show it is because it kind of really sets up exactly what we're just talking about right here. It shows you the two characters in this movie, which of course is O'Brien and Ryan. O'Brien, of course, Gene Kelly, the Irish guy, and Ryan, Denny Ryan, is Frank Sinatra. But you get to see what kind of characters these are, and let's take a look at that.
Okay.
Lucky punch, that's what it was.
Uh-huh. How many times have I told you to pick on somebody your size?
There ain't nobody my size. Why, I could have knocked a big lug for a loop. It's just that, I didn't want to hurt my hands.
Oh, sure.
Well, you don't want me to show up at spring training with a busted hand, do you?
Here, you save these pictures, don't you?
For the kids of the park, yeah. Hey, that's me.
I'd sooner have my picture in front of a theater.
You and your show business. Gee, it's gonna be great to get back in that old ball game again. I can hear the umps now. Batteries for today, Rube Waddell and Ossie Schreck. Kinda chokes you up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it chokes me. When I think of all the dames I lost because I had to be in bed by 10 o'clock.
You play a lot of checkers by 10 o'clock.
No, sir, brother. Give me vaudeville anytime. And maybe a musical show. 50 girls, 50. Maybe even 100 girls, 100. Oh, boy.
Gee, I suppose it would be more fun than playing checkers.
You suppose? Hey, you know, Denny, you're getting old enough to find out.
Well, to tell you the truth, Ed, lately I have been thinking a lot about romance and about girls.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, they smiled at us. Let's go talk to them.
We don't even know them.
But I feel like talking. I'm a very sociable fellow.
Well, let's go talk to those fellas over there, huh?
Denny, it ain't the same.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, you know, you could see here, of course, just like in Anchors Away, Gene Kelly is, you know, he wants girls, 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 and he's got women on the mind, and really Sinatra, as Denny Ryan here, he loves baseball. You know, he just wants to play baseball.
Well, it's so cute what a nerd he is. And, you know, and it's funny for the audience, I think, even in 1949, they already know, you know, what Sinatra's reputation is. So it's super cute because it is so against type.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, to me, the charm of Betty Garrett with him. Okay. Yep. Well, all right. They go to spring training and they do a great number called Yes Indeedy. We're not going to show that. Can't show them all. But, you know, a big plot here, a big storyline in the movie, of course, is that the baseball team that they play for, the Wolves, and by the way, this takes place in around 1908 to 1910 time period.
Right,
okay?
right.
And so it's, you know, baseball in the kind of the early days of baseball. They just won the championship the year before, and of course in those days, even in the 60s, in the 50s, and maybe even to the 60s, baseball players would get jobs in the off season, you know, and then they weren't.
Not such that that's a bad idea.
Yeah, they weren't paid billions of dollars, you know, so they had to, in the off season, Sinatra and Kelly, you know, O'Brien and Ryan, they were, you know, they were show people. They did dancing and singing. Well, anyway, now they got to go back to spring training, and they got to get ready for the new season coming off a world championship. And one of the major storyline here, of course, is that the team now has a new owner, because the owner of the team from the year before that won the championship died and passed away.
Right. And the owner now has only initials for a first and middle name.
Right. And so we're going to find out, we're going to show the number here where they get the news of there's going to be a new owner, and the new owner is going to participate in the management of the team.
Right.
And how the team responds to that. Let's take a look at that.
Hiya, Mike.
Hiya, Mike. How are you?
Denny,
Hey, what's ailing him?
I got some bad news for you fellas.
What?
This just came.
From the law office of Hergensheimer.
Never mind the batting order. Gentlemen, this will inform you that according to the will of the late Colonel J.B. Newhouse, former owner of the baseball club known as the Wolves, all rights and interests in said club have been bequeathed to the late Colonel's young and distant relative, one K.C. Higgins, who will arrive in Florida on the 10th instant to assert ownership and actively participate in the management of said club. Yours truly, Joseph Hergensheimer.
Who's K.C. Higgins?
Whoever he is, he probably want to pitch.
You mean we got to take orders from some dopey kid who never swung a bat?
Looks that way.
Not to me, it doesn't. I don't know about the rest of you fellas, but I want us to win the pennant. You don't cop any prize money finishing in last place.
You know, a thing like this happened to Baltimore once. They had to dig him out of the cellar.
If this guy opens his trap, I quit.
So do I.
I never even
Wait a minute now. How about a little fair play here, boys? You guys don't even know this Higgins. Now, here's what I say. He's going to arrive here Sunday morning, and until that time, let's keep an open mind. And above all, let's not judge him too hastily. Little rat. You take the backhand.
You, Mr. Higgins? K.C. Higgins? Higgins?
No.
Good. Either of you Higgins?
No.
Oh! I'm so
That's
sorry.
all right.
Gosh, I never did have any sense of direction, Miss Casey, Miss Higgins.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Florida Palms Hotel.
Casey Higgins. He's a girl.
Miss, are you looking for someone?
Well, yes, I am. Michael Gilhooly. He's the manager of the Wolves.
Oh, yes.
Could you point him out to me, please?
Well, it'd be an awful long point. He's down at the railroad station.
Oh.
He went to meet the 12:10.
Well, that's the train I came in on. Oh, I must have missed him.
Yeah? Well, I wonder how he missed you.
Mike ought to be along very soon now.
Denny, where are your manners? Why don't you give the lady your seat?
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Won't you sit down, miss? One of our very nicest chairs. Go read your funny papers. Mike's in a pretty nasty temper this morning.
You're not
Boy, is he
sure
mad.
is.
Well, what seems to be the trouble?
He's going to get the new owner of the club.
Well, is that bad?
Bad? Say, by the way, on the trip down, you didn't run into a little fathead named Higgins, did you?
A little fathead?
Yeah.
There's some lame brain from Providence, Rhode Island.
Excuse me, but I think...
Yeah, you better wait until Mike cools off. Now, look, baby doll. Just put yourself in my hands.
Fast worker, that boy. Just met her and he's rounding third.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, miss. Now, picture this. Here we are, the greatest team in baseball, the champs. And this little fathead from Providence is going to come down here and teach us the game. How do you like that?
Oh, it's very depressing.
Yeah, don't ever be a ball player, miss.
Well, I'll try to avoid it.
Look, let's talk about you. What are you doing tonight after dinner?
Well, I hadn't made any... After dinner?
Yeah, how about stepping out a little? Just the two of us, huh?
Well, aren't you ball players supposed to be in training?
Training? Who, me? I don't believe in it.
You don't say.
No.
Well, what time do you usually get in?
Well, we're supposed to be in by 10 o'clock, but, well, it's all right for the other fellas, but I usually get in about midnight. Except, of course, when I have an extra special date, and then I get in about 2 or 3. Tonight, I could stay up till 5.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, won't Mr. Gilhooly get mad?
What I always say is what the boss doesn't know doesn't hurt me. You get it, sister?
Oh, I get it, brother.
Well, what's here? Is it Mike? How are you, Mike? I'd like you to meet a friend of mine, Miss,
Higgins.
Yeah.
Casey Higgins. I'm afraid I missed you at the station.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. We've had a very interesting chat, Mr. O'Brien and I. Haven't we?
Yeah, we sure have, Miss Higgins.
Just call me Fathead.
Very nice.
Yes, good.
I love that scene.
See her voice. I like her speaking voice.
She's great. There's not much to not like about Esther Williams.
She was 5'8.5". I just want to throw that in. She's probably not that much shorter than Gene Kelly. She was pretty tall.
No, she's very tall. And as a matter of fact, on the DVD, by the way, I know you and I both take great pride in our DVD collections. Do you have this one?
I don't have this one, but I saw it very recently.
Okay. Well, on the DVD in the special features, they actually have 2 deleted scenes.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually have them. If you want to see them, I'll share them with you.
Sort of like seeing your etchings?
Say that again?
Like seeing your etchings?
My etching?
Yeah, that's what guys used to say to women. Come over to my house and I'll show you my etchings, my artwork.
Oh, no, I never heard that one.
Yeah, so
right.
now it's about DVDs, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you and I would have a lot of fun, in the library for sure. In any case, on the DVD, where they show the deleted scenes, they first give an explanation as to why they were dropped. And one of them was the one with, it's called Baby Doll. And it's with Gene and Esther. And it said the reason that they dropped it was because Gene Kelly felt it was awkward because she was the same height as him.
agree. I was thinking that when he spoke to her.
You know, and what is it with these dancers? You know, what is it with these dancers? You know, Fred Astaire was even worse about it than Gene Kelly.
Well, he was slighter, too.
Fred Astaire is like, you know, he had to have short women to dance with, and if they were too tall, it was...
Right. Emasculating.
Yeah, you know, but I don't really see it that way, but that's how these dancers are, and I guess I really never knew that about Gene Kelly, but when I just watched that thing today and saw the deleted scene and I read that, I was kind of surprised that even, you know, because Gene Kelly's always thought of as kind of the man's dancer, whereas Fred Astaire was a little different.
Oh, well, definitely. I also heard that the director wanted them to do a scene where they were swimming together, but Gene Kelly did not want that.
Yeah, it's interesting, very interesting. Yeah, so, you know, you're right on the money about her height and everything. Okay, so they now have the woman manager, of course. It's not the manager, but she's the owner. And, you know, she's going to take an active role in participating with the team. And, of course, Gene Kelly clearly as Denny O'Brien, or not Denny O'Brien, but as O'Brien, has gotten off on the wrong foot now, you know. And you know, and you know what's funny watching these films too, Barbie, is, you know, the way, you know, you call her baby doll and I mean, nowadays it would be total sexual harassment, right?
Yeah. And you also know, you know what's happening. Mike's in the background trying to tell him that that's the person, and he's not paying any attention. It's really funny to me.
Yeah. And then when he asks her out, he says, "What are you doing after dinner?" She's like, "After dinner? You're not even going to take me to dinner? You just want to meet me out."
Yeah, you already know he's sunk anyway.
Oh, it's hysterical. Well, anyway, here's a short one, you know, showing how, again, the whole, I just think it's a cute scene. We got to show it. All right, check. This is now the new owner. She's going to actually sit there at the practice. Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Easy, boy. Take it easy now, Eddie. Oh, Papa.
What's bothering you, Ed? You swing like a rusty gate.
He's lost his batting height.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Brien, you're stepping in the bucket.
How's that?
I said you're stepping in the bucket.
Oh, thank you. Maybe you'd like to come over here and show me how to do it.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to. Slappy, would you get me the water bucket, please? May I? You see, Mr. O'Brien, here's what's happening. Instead of stepping into the ball like this, you're stepping over here and into the bucket.
Now, let me get this straight. When I stand at the plate, I'm like this. No, I hold it a little higher, up here, you see? And while waiting for the pitch, I wiggle a little bit. Like this. Just to get myself set.
Yes, I've noticed that. Now, as the ball comes over, try stepping into it as you bring the bat back like... Sorry, Mr. O'Brien. But would you try it, please?
Ow.
Pitch to him, would you, Joe? But easy on that arm.
Yeah, easy on the arm, Judy. Okay.
Hey, what a poke! Wow, that's 4 bases in any ballpark.
That's the idea, Eddie, but don't try to kill them all. You know, Charlie Davis of Cincinnati only hit 279, but he batted in 102 runs.
Why don't you get Charlie Davis?
Cut the cracks, Eddie.
Oh, Mr. Gilhooly, I seem to have taken over your job.
Not at all, Miss Higgins, not at all.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'll see you back at the hotel.
Fine.
All right, let's get busy now. Get around now. Come on, Dennis, you're up. Come on, Dennis, boy. Get in. You're next. All right, Joe. Come on, boy. All right, now get a hold of him. All right, Dennis.
Hey, look out!
Gee, ain't that something? She's the kind of girl I've always dreamed about. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be married to a girl who played baseball? Gee.
Oh, geez. Sinatra.
I love how how naive it is, and I like Frank Sinatra's reaction when he gets conked in the head by the bat. He's really funny.
I know it. Like you said, it's so against type.
Yeah, Gene Kelly is pretty smart to have written a script that way.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great to be married to a girl who played baseball?
Well, I agree, because I do like athletics, so I think Frank's dead on.
But that's what's so cool about Esther Williams, too. She's beautiful, but she is an athlete. She's an athlete.
Yeah, I know.
It's
fun.
Okay.
Now what?
Yeah, that was a little over 2 minutes on that one. I had to throw that in there.
No, I love that.
Yeah. Well,
are you going to do Brian O'Ryan to Goldberg?
Well, actually, that's the next one up on the list. I almost am tempted to skip it, but it's such a, a great musical number. I mean, it's an all-time classic. It gets Jules Munchin into the act. And, of course, for those out there that are familiar, with baseball lore, one of the great combinations of all time, they talk about Tinkers to Evers to Chance. And there's the shortstop to the second baseman, back to the first baseman for double play, Tinkers to Evers to Chance. And this song, was written, O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg, in a somewhat of a, I don't know if it was an homage to Tinkers to Evers to Chance, but that's the whole idea of it, O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg. So, yeah, I think we should take a look at that.
Give me a little more. Yeah, I remember this time last season we were playing scrap. Yeah? Great town. Well, anyway, there's a dame there named Maxine who's kind of sweet on me. A very refined, artistic little chick with plenty on the ball.
A cooch dancer from the circus.
That's what I mean. Hey, Goldberg, give me the bread. Anyway, this minx is really warm for me, and one night she's walking me home after the show. And all of a sudden, I hear a flute playing a cooch dance, like this.
Good evening, boys.
Evening, Miss Higgins.
Hello, Denny.
Sit down. What do you think it is, a formal affair? She gonna eat with us, too?
Hey, watch your language, fellas. And your table manners, too. She called me Denny.
This may not be such a good idea, Miss Higgins. You're kind of cramping their style.
Yeah, they're not used to eating with skirts. I mean ladies.
Look, Mike, the sooner they get used to seeing me around, the better it's going to be for all of us.
Yes, ma'am.
Would someone be so kind as to pass me the bread, please?
Yes, indeed.
With pleasure. Thank you very much. Mind your manners.
What's the matter? I had my pinky out, didn't I?
Temper, Mr. Zelinka, temper. Have you boys seen the fashion page in this week's Vanity Fair? Well, there's the cutest pair of pants with a peg top and a narrow bottom, if you'll pardon the expression. And the sweetest pair of...
Look, we're plastered all over the paper.
Hey, pretty nice.
What's it say?
Yeah, what's it say?
Well,
what's it say?
nice.
Yeah, what's it say?
Shall we tell him?
Shall we?
By all means.
O'Brien to Ryan
To Goldberg.
What a great double play.
The other team never can get to score.
In every inning,
We keep them from winning each time that they try for a rally. That's when we save the day.
someone's on first and the game is in doubt.
The guy up at bat hits a terrible clout. The dust clears away and they're both of them out. O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg. O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg. Pack some into the park. The crowds in the bleachers are there at dawn. They treat us royal. Gee whiz, but they're loyal. One game lasted 17 innings. It was way after dark. We couldn't see a darn thing anymore. We thought that the crowd had gone home good and sore. When out of the black came a deafening roar. O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg. guy who scoops up the ball and whips it to second base? O'Brien!
And who is the guy who sends on the pill to first at an awful pace?
Ryan! And who is the guy who tags him at first with a pitying look on his face? Mrs. Goldberg's baby boy. Hi, hi, hi. Goldberg, Goldberg, that's the boy for us.
My mother always wanted me to play the violin. That dainty little instrument just didn't fit my chin. The night of my recital, I played Ich liebe dich.
When suddenly a voice rang out, "Hey, throw that can of fish!" And then a ripe tomato was hurled in rude attack. I swung my fiddle wildly and batted it right back.
That moment started off my new career, and now the sweetest music to my ear is
O'Brien to Ryan to Goldberg, what they all come to see. Shortstop to second and then to first. Just 1, 2, 3, oh, the unholy trio. The way that we move on the diamond, it is sheer poetry.
winning the games from the spring to the fall.
It's just all for one and it's just one for all. The Three Musketeers of the bat and the ball. O'Brien, hey! To Ryan, hey!
To Goldberg.
Hey, hey!
There it is. All right.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad you showed that one.
You know, the Jules Munchin kind of grows on you when you watch these films. Of course, he was in On the Town and also in Easter Parade and everything. But he just seems like such an unlikely fit for Sinatra and Kelly. But, you know, I mean, was he like a Broadway actor first or something?
I was going to ask you if you knew what you knew about him, and I remember looking him up a long time ago. I'm pretty sure he was a Brooklyn-born guy, and I think he did come up in the vaudeville vein.
Okay.
I mean, I think he works because they can do all these different configurations because of his height, and he's a pretty good singer, and he really is a pretty good dancer.
Yeah. He's part of the club, you know.
Yeah, it's cute.
Okay. Well, what ends up happening next is, you know, Sinatra. I mean, not Sinatra, but Gene Kelly as O'Brien. In his mind, he's thinking that, hey, you know, we're going to go out and we're going to go out tonight, and you know, she. The owner, of course, Higgins, she hears him and she says to the manager, she says, "What is the fine for staying out past curfew?" And he says $25. And she says, "Why don't we make it 50? The dear little boys, you know, the little dears need their rest." Right. So now, you know, Kelly as O'Brien knows, hey, we can't even try going out. $50, you know, we can't chance it, you know. So they go up to their room and, you know, he's foiled that he can't go out. So they look out the window and they see, of course, Casey Higgins. She's swimming in the pool. It's Esther Williams, of course. You know, they managed to work in a swim. You know, it's not the typical, you know, number that we know Esther Williams for, but nevertheless, it's Esther Williams in a pool.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's understated, you know.
Yeah.
But she's out for a night swim, and of course, Gene Kelly as O'Brien, he hatches a plan that how they can make this work, because he doesn't want to go through a whole season of not being able to go out.
Right.
You know, she's going to be everywhere they turn. We got to take her with us. You know,
she's crimping their style big time.
Absolutely, she's crimping their style. So he says to, of course, his buddy Denny Ryan, she likes you. And, of course, obviously he's smitten with her because she can play baseball. So that's his master plan.
Oh, good. So we get to see the song.
Well, okay, this next scene I have is, right, you're right. Sinatra singing to, of course, Esther Williams. And anytime Sinatra's singing, we got to take a look at that.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, it's The Right Girl for Me.
Roger Edens wrote it.
Okay, this is a little bit longer clip. I mean, but as it is, I cut some of the stuff off the front end because it's so cute. But anyway, let's check it out. The Right Girl for Me. It's Frank Sinatra.
I didn't say nothing. That's a quarter you owe me.
You know, this could go on all season.
What's eating him anyway?
The call of the wild, Junior. The call of the wild.
Oh, that.
Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done.
Wow! Hey, fellas, shh. Take a look.
Beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah, not bad for a dame who can feel the hot grounder.
Dee-da-da-da-dee-dum, dum, dee-da-da, the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Boys, I've got it. This is what we do. First we... Hey, fellas. Come here. Hey, come here. There's one way we can break training without getting into a jam.
How's that?
Take her out on a date. We'll get 2 other girls and we'll go stepping. Denny, I've got a hunch that girl is human.
No.
Yes, and guess who she's crazy about? You.
Me, personally? You think so?
Sure, Denny, this is it. If she's a dame, she wants romance. And she's a dame. Denny, here's your chance. A touch of the hand, a subtle caress, a few tender little nothings whispered in the moonlight. Oh, Denny, it's up to you.
But I don't know any tender little nothings, Ed.
It's been my experience. The athletic type girl like Higgins might go for the caveman approach. Like this. Come here. Wham. Handle her up, Denny.
Rough, huh?
No.
Well, what do you want me to do?
First, go out on that balcony. Let her see you. Then let nature take its course.
Be nonchalant.
But I don't know about nonchalant and things like that.
Wait. Sit on the rail. Look up at the moon. Look up at the moon. Okay, never mind the moon.
Never mind the moon.
Well, make up your mind.
Attract her attention. Cough.
Shh. Softly, you dope.
Hello, Denny.
Hello, Miss Higgins.
Catherine's the name.
Hello, Catherine. What do I do next?
What did you say, Denny?
I said, what do I do next? I mean...
Talk to her. Say something. Go down and talk.
How can I get down?
Go down the tree. Go down
the tree.
The tree. Go down the tree. Down the tree. Go on. Don't stop now.
Well.
Hello, Miss Higgins.
Catherine.
Catherine, it's a lovely night, ain't it?
Yes, it is, Denny.
And that's a great big moon, ain't it?
Yes, it certainly is. That's a lovely moon.
How's that?
I said it's a lovely moon.
Oh, yes. You ever stop to think that a lovely night like this and a great big moon and a girl like...
The right girl, Denny.
Oh, sure.
How would you be able to tell, Denny?
I could tell.
Right away?
Mm-hmm. Right from the very first time.
I'll hear heavenly music. I'll hear bells start to chime. I'll hear thunder and I'll be struck with wonder. But I won't have to look a second time. If her voice is a song and her walk is a dance, and if her laugh is warm and free, if I suddenly seem to be seeing a dream, she's the right girl for me. If the glow in her eyes and the light in her smile could charm a bird right off a tree, I'll be charmed as a bird, and I'll know in a word she's the right girl for me. She'll have a simple, sweet appeal that wins my affection. She'll be the kind who'll make me feel she needs my protection. If the sight of her face and the touch of her hand can make me happy as can be, if my heart says come in, darling, where have you been? She's the right girl for me. She's the right girl for me.
That was beautiful, Denny, beautiful.
Gee, Miss Higgins, you're wonderful. The way you picked up that grounder was just wonderful.
You know how I am with this stuff, Barbie. I like to just watch the whole movie, and I actually cut off about another minute at the end of that because, you know, the two guys are upstairs. They're watching through the window, and
I know the rest of the scene.
yeah, and Jules tells him it's not going to happen. Take a look, and he comes out and takes a look, and they're practicing baseball down there.
Yeah.
And Kelly says, as O'Brien says, he's probably going to come up here to get his bat.
Oh, but how about that song, Larry? His voice is so beautiful at this point.
Oh, God, I love Sinatra's voice. It's so full. It's so rich. I could see you, like, singing that song. I mean, obviously, it's, you know, gender-wise, it's, you know, man to a woman. But I'm sure, you know, I'd love to hear you sing that.
Well, I had that on an actual album when I was a kid, and I played it a lot. It was an album of all Sinatra's movie songs. So I know it very well.
You know, in fact, I think one of the song that was cut, which was
Baby Doll?
Well, Baby Doll was cut, but that was Gene Kelly. Boys and Girls Like You and Me.
Oh, yes.
That was Frank singing to Betty, and that was cut from this movie. That was cut even I think from another movie too. But anyway, that I think stayed on the album. There was that's a song that I think was on a Sinatra album, but it got cut from the movie.
I'll have to look for it.
I think.
Yeah, I read that too.
I think, yeah. Don't you love IMDb?
I love that, and I have a lot of books at my apartment in New York, but I'm not there now. But my mom actually has a lot of stuff on films too, because she's the one that started me on this road.
Who, your mom did?
Yeah, she has some great books here too. She likes to read the bios of all these people.
Yeah. Now, does your mom also collect DVDs or just books?
No, she's got some good DVDs. And then, you know, when the VCR first came out and I was a kid, my mother was just using it all the time to record films, you know, because it was such a novelty. And my mother wanted to have these films. So we still have some VCRs around here that were taped from the television.
Wow. With the commercials and everything.
Well, I think she used to sit there and try to get them out. You know, I mean, we're diehards in this family.
Wow, that's awesome. That is really awesome. God, I love that. You know, now people will say, you know, I spend money on DVDs and everything. People say, oh, you know, you could just rent them, or you can, you know, watch it on Hulu or something like that. It's free and all this. They don't understand. I want the DVD. Okay, I want it in my collection. You know.
Yeah, I know. You want to have it. You want to hold it in your hand in a way. I know.
Yeah, you know, I met this guy out here. He's a collector also, except he's got like 5 times as many DVDs as I do. He's got over 3,000.
Wow.
And we actually met in a store in the DVD department looking at DVDs. You know. And, of course, I buy most of mine online, but nevertheless, he was telling me that what he has at home is, and I didn't get the name of the device. I got his business card. But he's got some kind of a device. I guess it's like a computer or something like that. It hooks up to the TV. Or maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's a computer and whatever. And it's a software. I don't know. But anyway, he buys a new DVD. He opens the package, he puts it in, okay, and then what it does is it records everything that's on the DVD, whether it's deleted scenes, special features, trailers, you know, whatever, okay, interviews, and on the DVD, put the DVD back in the case, and then he files it, okay? But now you want to watch the movie, you know, you sit there, you go through the menu, and you say, okay, I want to watch Take Me Out to the Ballgame, and you go there, and it's like you bring it up. He doesn't like try to return it for his money. No, he wants the DVDs in his collection.
Right, but it's still in his computer.
But it's all in the computer, and you just play, and you can play them on the TV. You go to the menus, everything. But you know, you keep the DVD in pristine condition, and you just have it on the shelf with the cover and the jacket and everything. But you have everything digitized.
Oh yeah, that's smart. If you have enough room on your computer, I guess.
I suppose.
Everything has changed. It'll probably change again.
Yeah. You know, like I said, I've got over 200 DVDs on my wish list right now. You know.
Well,
okay.
What else are we going to show? Do you have more?
Well, yeah, of course I have more.
Or you have time?
Well, we have time. We got time here. The next scene, if we can skip it or not, I'll throw it to you if you want to. We haven't seen Betty Garrett yet. Now, this would be, you know, Betty Garrett, she actually sees Denny Ryan on the field and she's attracted to him. You know, she says, who's that skinny little runt? You know, and that's Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up before, how they always make reference to how, you know, scrawny Sinatra was and how funny that was, you know, with Bobby.
Well, it is funny, and right along those same lines, Barbie, I think to me, it's interesting, it's amusing, it's almost even amazing how in the scene where Gene Kelly is hitting on Esther Williams when they walked in the hotel lobby, he practically just pushes Sinatra to the side, you know? I mean, that's Sinatra, okay? I know it's a movie, and I know it's a role, but it's Frank Sinatra, you know? I mean, he's like, you know, you don't mess with Sinatra.
I know.
Did you notice that?
I totally noticed it, and I thought the same thing, and I really cracked up about it. It's kind of fun.
It's unbelievable, and I think that's why Gene Kelly is so good with Sinatra. He's not like in awe of him, and Sinatra was the man.
No, I agree. That's why it does work. These are, I've said before how I feel like Gene Kelly is a little bit hammy, and but in these three movies with Sinatra, I really can take him. I really like him so much better.
You do like him in these movies, okay?
Yeah, very much.
All right, well, it's fate, baby, it's fate. If for no other reason, I think we should show this because, the poor woman, she died last year.
I love her. No, and this is a great song.
Yeah, it's fate, baby, it's fate. And I really like Betty Garrett. She's a treasure.
She was a treasure for sure.
And one thing I did not know, I just literally found out today as I was researching for this show tonight, one of my favorites is Larry Parks. Because, you and I have talked about it. I love.
They were married.
I did not know that until today.
Yes, I did know that. I forgot that. Yeah, I know. And he had, a pretty crazy career, and he was blacklisted, and they were married a long time, weren't they?
Yeah, and she was blacklisted too, probably, I guess because of him, and also, I guess, she was probably a member of the Communist Party too.
Right.
But, it sounds now, looking back and everything, or, many years removed, it sounds preposterous to be talking about, well, member of the Communist Party. How could that be? That's impossible. You live in the United States and everything. But, it really wasn't as extreme as it really sounds.
No, I know. It's fascinating about the number of writers that were blacklisted and how their careers were ruined. But people were worried that ideology was going to creep into the art that was being produced in Hollywood. And, it's crazy. But, it seemed like a very real threat at the time, I guess.
Yeah, there was an incredible PBS special about the Hollywood blacklist, and I want to get that on DVD. I don't have it, but I want to get it just so I can learn more about it. But I know it was produced by a lady, Judy Chaikin, that we had right here on Chillin' with Larry Megan when she's at the tail end now of a project she's working on called The Girls in the Band. You had to miss that show.
Yes, I know about it though.
Yeah, she produced The Girls in the Band, but also she produced the Hollywood Blacklist for PBS.
Yes, I've seen that, and I'd like to see it again.
And she took 10 years of her life to produce that.
Well, it's very valuable, and everybody should see that. It's a big historical, point.
Yeah, I want to get it. I've never seen it, but I got to get that. All right, so let's take a look at It's Fate, Baby, It's Fate, and the recently passed away Betty Garrett. She's adorable, and she loves Frank Sinatra. Check it out.
You made your mind up not to stall with me. Start playing ball with me. Your future isn't changeable or shapeable. It's inescapable. If you should run to China or to Turkey or Sweden or Herzegovina or Mars, it wouldn't matter where you'd be. A force would pull you back to me. It's written in the stars. It's fate, baby, it's fate. And it's knocking at our door. It's fate, baby, and that's the reason you're mine and I am yours. Don't wait, baby, don't wait. It'll happen anyhow. Don't wait, baby, to do next season what you can do right now. There's a plan for every woman and every man. Each was made for the other. Treat me like a brother. Too late, baby, too late. So accept your destiny. It's fate, baby, that you were meant to fall in love with in my astrology. I'm really knowledgy.
It doesn't matter if you are Aquarius or Sagittarius or Gemini or Scorpio or Taurus the bull, Capricornus or Pisces the fish.
Winter, summer, spring, or fall, as long as you were born at all. Mister, you're my dish. It's fate, baby, it's fate.
Can't I even put up a fuss?
It's fate, baby, the stars have written that you and me is us. It's right, baby, so right. I can see it in the cards. Don't fight, baby, take off that mitten, 'cause you and me is cards. Listen, Mac, it's all arranged in the zodiac. Got you coming and going. Hey, bud, your future showing. Too late, baby, too late. This feeling in me stirs. It's fate, baby, so let's start buying towels, marked his and hers.
There was.
Darling.
And just the fact that she could, hold him up like that. I mean, I think he weighs like 122 pounds or something like that.
Soaking wet.
Yeah, it's amazing how skinny he was. I love Betty Garrett. I think she's great.
I do too, and I think that's a great song. I forgot how clever the lyrics are.
Music by Roger Edens. We love Roger Edens, right?
Yeah.
Lyrics by Betty Comden and Adolph Green.
Yes, we love them.
Yeah, unbelievable. They not only wrote movies, they wrote the songs too.
Well, Comden and Green is, I think Bells Are Ringing, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else. But I know they used to write reviews that's how they started.
They wrote the script for Singing in the Rain, right?
That's right.
But I don't know about the songs. No, the songs were all Arthur Freed songs in that, but.
Right. I mean, and then some other songs thrown in that were super old songs to begin with. But, I mean, if you only had written Singing in the Rain, and that's the only thing you ever did with your life, wouldn't that kind of be enough?
Well, you mean the movie script. I mean, the song was written by Arthur Freed, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. If that's all you ever did, you're right. And, they seem like they're such a charming... I mean, were they married?
I think they were married.
I mean, they seem like a married couple, Adolph Green and Betty Comden. But they're so charming when you see them on those interviews on the special features and so forth. Well, then I've got two pieces to choose from here coming up. And unless you want both, but one or the other. I got Strictly USA, which is, they go to a clam bake. And, everybody's at the clam bake. So you see all four of them. You see, of course, Sinatra and Kelly and Esther Williams and Betty Garrett, all four of them. So it's kind of like a big production number. Or, as you know, pretty much just like every Fred Astaire movie, every Gene Kelly movie, you have to have a Gene Kelly solo dance number.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I'm not saying we have to show it, but that would be The Hat My Father Wore on St. Patrick's Day. So do you want to see the big production number? And it's also at the clam bake as well. It's like one comes right after the other. But when he does the hat my father wore on St. Patrick's Day, it's Gene, by himself, pretty much dancing for everybody.
It's a really good number. I remember it. Now that I'm more in love with Gene, maybe we should show it.
You want to show the Gene number instead of the big, where the whole big production number? Okay, let's do that. All right. The Hat My Father Wore on St. Patrick's Day, Gene Kelly.
What's wrong with Mrs. O'Brien's boy, Eddie?
Heart trouble. It looks like heart trouble to me.
Sure, and what kind of an Irish lad is it can sit here while the fiddlers are fiddling, the pipes are piping, and the cordials are smiling like it was the wedding night?
Why, you should be leaping in the air, knocking your heels together, doing a handsome clock. Come on, it's with us, sir.
big win. Now you can see why the O'Briens were the first kings of Ireland.
A little hoof of that O'Brien.
Not a bad shortstop either.
That infield wouldn't be much good without him.
Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that hat?
Where did you get that hat? Folks ask me every day. Isn't it a nifty one? You often hear them say. Put it on, it's funny, can't you see the people smile? It keeps me busy telling them the history of this tile. It's the hat me dear old father wore upon St. Patrick's Day. Now talk about respect with his head erect as he marched down old Broadway. Sure not a man in line looked half as fine, me dear old mother, he used to say, as your father did in his old time lived upon St. Patrick's Day. It's the hat me dear old father wore upon St. Patrick's Day. Talk about respect with his head erect as he marched down old Broadway. Sure not a man in line looked half as fine. Me dear old mother used to say, as your father did in his old time lived upon St. Patrick's Day. Hey!
It's the hat dear old father wore upon St. Patrick's Day. Talk about respect with his head erect as he marched down old Broadway. Not a man in line looked half as fine, me dear old mother used to say, as your father did in his old time lived upon St. Patrick's Day.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes, that's a good number.
Gene
I
Kelly.
forgot about that number.
Yeah. He always has to do something, unique in every movie. I don't know if he really got it with that one. Like when he tore the newspaper or when he danced with a hat rack or, always something.
On the roller skates.
The roller skates, the
character. I mean, everything.
The ego, alter ego.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Cover girl. Okay. Well, what happens there? By the way, did you notice that quick shot of Edward Arnold?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got somebody that's going to be messing around with the whole.
Right. He said the team wouldn't be much good. He's a big shot businessman gambler that follows the team and bets on the team or bets against the team, and they're coming to the part of the season now where they're playing for, I guess, the whole championship. And you heard him say right there they wouldn't have much of a chance, or they wouldn't be much of a team if they didn't have O'Brien. O'Brien's like the star of the team, the shortstop, Gene Kelly. So what he does after this, he goes to see him the next day after he did that clam bake dance right there. And he told him, I was really impressed with what you did at the clam bake. How would you like to dance in my show? He's got a nightclub or something.
And we already know that Gene Kelly would prefer to do that over baseball because we've seen that conversation.
Yes, you're right. Good point. You're right. And he says, well, yeah, I'd love to do it. We'll wait after the season. And he tells him, I need you right now. And he says, well, I guess I could rehearse at night, but you got to keep it on the down low. Don't tell anybody. So this is Edward Arnold's plan. I don't know what his character is in the movie. I forget now, but he tells him, I won't say anything. And so he's playing baseball, practicing and playing games during the day, and at night he's rehearsing all night. So now he's dog tired.
Right, yes.
And of course at this time the Wolves have a big lead, but all of a sudden they start blowing games down the stretch because O'Brien is so tired. He's out there playing half asleep and he's making errors and they're losing games.
Yeah, I remember the montage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're losing games now because he's rehearsing and he's being paid like $5,000 or, he got a big deal from this guy. And they're losing games, and all of a sudden Gene Kelly, as O'Brien realizes, he's blowing it for his whole team. And he just can't take it anymore. They're, all the stuff in the newspapers and everything. And so he calls up, Edward Arnold, of course, and he tells him, that's it, I quit. I'm not going to do this anymore. So he says, I'm letting the whole team down. So Edward Arnold, again, I wish I could remember his character's name.
No, I can't either.
Well, I'm going to get it anyway, but one moment here. So I'll get that. But anyway, he comes over to the hotel where the team is staying, and in front of the owner, he brings up the fact that, he's been rehearsing every night for me. And this is when the owner has already now I'm talking about the owner, Casey Higgins, of course, yeah. Catherine, Esther Williams. She now realizes that, the guy is, the manager tells Casey Higgins that, well, he's not chasing women. He needs to go out. And that's why he's making errors. And he has like a crush on you, and she's shocked. She's thinking like, well, I'm going to have to go out with him for the good of the team.
All right.
So she's now agreeing to go out with him, and he's all happy and stuff. And he already made the decision. He's going to quit the show. And he's going to start getting his sleep, and he's going to start playing good ball so they can win. And after the two of them, Esther Williams and Frank Sinatra, and after they, kind of realize that they like each other, that's when Edward Arnold comes in and says, oh, well, he's been rehearsing every night for me. So that's when she kind of loses it, and she throws him off the team. He's been lying to her, to everybody, and he, it's not that he loves her or anything like that. He's been rehearsing and he's tired. So she kicks him off the team, and the team is not doing well, and now he's gonna come back, and he gets some kids to help him to try to get his way back to the team after he's been kicked off for several games. And so this is the scene where O'Brien comes back. We're near the end of the movie now, and this is where he tries to come back. You want to add anything?
I don't actually remember this scene, but, you know, he'll have to be redeemed, and I'm sure the kids will help him.
Okay.
Entitled to slump every once in a while. Hey, look!
Why don't you get in there and play, Eddie? Nobody asked me. I just can't walk out.
We'll carry you if it'll do any good.
It's Eddie. Hey, Eddie! What do you like? Get up, boy, Eddie!
What are you going to do about it, Miss Higgins?
Nothing. There's nothing to be done.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to talk to him.
Mike, there's nothing to talk about. Besides, he's probably in no condition to play anyhow.
Why don't you put him out there and see? Yeah, we have plenty of time before the game starts.
No. But you can talk to him if you want to.
He goes in, we can kiss our 20,000 goodbye.
Ah, you fellas give up too easy.
What are you talking about? What 20,000? Have you boys been betting against him?
Shut up. O'Brien mustn't play today, boys. That's it.
Okay. A change in the lineup for today's game. O'Brien at shortstop for the Wolves.
Denny, come here.
Hi, honey. What are you doing here?
Listen, they're going to get him.
Get who?
Eddie. They're out to get him.
What?
I heard Morgan and his men talking. They bet a lot of money against the Wolves. They're a bad lot, Denny. They won't stop at anything. You got to tell Eddie not to play.
Oh, he'd play anyway.
Well, you got to stop him from playing.
Sure. Stop him from playing. Yeah, I'll stop him.
When the ball is
How about giving the old routine, the gag?
Sure, you got the softball?
Right there.
Let's go.
Get in there and have some fun. You can laugh right here.
Let's go, huh? Here we are.
Open up, boys. Come on.
Here he is, Doctor.
Better get him to the locker room right away.
Get him out. Up with him, boys. Take him easy now.
Go
ahead.
Nice and
easy, boys. Get up. Take it easy, man. Nice and easy with him.
Well, I guess there ain't nothing left for us to do.
Now, wait. Maybe he's only stunned for a few minutes. We got to keep him out. Carl, Steve.
Yeah?
They don't know you two. Go down there and tell them you're a couple of doctors and keep O'Brien out.
He'll be out, Joe.
Well, you know, what we didn't see in the beginning of the movie when they did their shtick before the game, that little clown act, you know, is that Ryan Sinatra, he's got a mush ball, and when he hits him, it's just like a little sponge ball. It doesn't, it's
Right.
fake.
I remember now.
Right, but when they did it this time, he felt like he knocked him out, so for his own good, with a hard ball, hit him in the head, which is kind of, don't try this at home.
This is so, Chicago Black Sox and the scandal, and that people were still, were betting. Not that the players were involved here, but
Right.
This is crooked baseball. What I love is that Betty Garrett comes on the field. She's like, come here.
Yeah, she's in the little runway there, but it's back in 1908, 1909.
Yeah,
It's
right. It's cute.
yeah.
And then she goes, "They're a bad lot." That's what she says about him. They're a
Yeah,
bad
and
lot.
I looked up the character's name. Edward Arnold is playing Joe Largan is the name he's playing. So they take him in the locker room. The two goons go in there and throw everybody out. They say they're doctors, and they every time Gene Kelly starts to wake up, they knock him in the head to knock him out again. So
That's right.
they don't want him to play because he could help them win, and they've got $20,000 bet on the game. So now I guess it's time for the finale. We have to do the finale, right?
Do you have time for your Judy segment?
I'm going to do the Judy segment, yeah. Okay. Do you want to? When we've come this far, I mean, if you have to go, I understand. It's no problem.
No, I love it.
Okay, good. If you love it, I'm with you. It's so much more fun for me with you here, Barbie. Believe me. But all right, let's take a look at it. This is now, this is the championship game that they're playing in, and what was interesting too is that Catherine Higgins, Casey Higgins, she was the one that kicked O'Brien off the team.
Right.
And then she says, well, if you want to go talk to him, you can talk to him. And then as soon as he gets hit in the head, she jumps over the wall, and she runs out there. So she really cares for him at this point.
Well, right.
She really does like him and stuff. So this is really the wrap up here to the whole thing, and it's the grand finale. Let's check it out.
Them doctors won't let me in. They say they may have to operate. What?
Denny, what's all this about gambling?
Who said anything about gambling?
Shirley did.
Shirley, you didn't say anything
Now,
about
don't you
gambling.
start that. I know you knocked him out, and you did it on purpose.
Now, look, I was in a spot. Now, you don't want a dead shortstop in your hands, do you?
Why didn't you call the cops? They're all over the place.
Well, I was too scared to. Why'd you tell me?
How did I know you were going to beat him with the hard ball? Oh, Denny. Mike, how is he? Have you seen him?
No, but he's still out.
Them two doctors won't let me in. They say they're going to operate.
Operate? In there? That's impossible.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Well, I'm going in there.
Gee, is it that bad?
You hit him next time, will you? My knuckles is getting sore.
Hey, you can't come in here.
Why not?
Doctor's orders, and I'm the doctor. This man's been hurt very bad. Now shut the door and get out of here.
Those two aren't doctors. Come on, quick.
You can't come in here.
All right, now one's all. That's it. All right, Mike.
Why, I hardly touched him. I guess I don't know my own strength. Take him away, fellas.
Come on, boys.
All right, boys, play ball. Batter up. Denny. Come on, get in there, kid. Get ahead. Send Goldberg around.
Quit blasting.
Slappy, is he still out?
Yeah. I don't think he's seriously hurt, Miss Higgins. He's merely stunned.
Eddie, darling, please look at me. Oh, Eddie, can you talk? How do you feel?
I feel fine.
Oh, darling.
I feel wonderful.
Oh, now, you just lie right here and don't you move.
Who's moving?
Oh, darling, I was so worried when Dennis hit you on the head with the ball.
Dennis. Where is he? Where is he? Wait a minute.
Moving, I'll murder him. I'll kill him. Eddie!
once you can catch it. Yeah, give me it back. Give me it back.
Honest, Eddie, I can explain the whole thing.
Let's go, Eddie. Come on, Eddie.
Your seats, hold your hats. It's not the finish of the show. The love scene must be played out before the final fade out. Sinatra gets Garrett, Kelly gets Williams, for that's the plot the author wrote. So turn this duet into a quartet and end it on a happy note. Saturday night on Main Street, like a Ford or Chevrolet, like potato chips or comic strips, it's strictly USA. Take Judy Garland, take Catherine Grayson,
Take Mr. Crosby or Fred Astaire. Don't let the movie spin 'em up, 'cause they look so pretty when we pin 'em up.
like the annual Elks Convention, like the Rotary Club soiree, like Masonic calls or firemen's balls, like honeymooning at Niagara Falls. They're really here to stay, 'cause it's strictly
Yay!
We made it.
That was wonderful. I want to show it for July 4th sometime.
Is that great? Isn't
Yeah.
that great? Isn't that funny when, you know, she said Judy Garland and Catherine Grayson, then she says Mr. Crosby and Fred Astaire?
Yeah, very funny.
Awesome.
Love that kind of inside stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
Hey, can I plug something before I go?
Absolutely. Of course you can.
I have this really great gig coming up at the end of December. It's actually the night before New Year's Eve. And it's pertinent because it's going to be the reopening of an old movie house in Riverhead, New York. It's way, way out, almost right near the Hamptons, on the North Fork, though. And they're showing the film Footlight Parade, which was the first film they ever showed at the theater in 1933 when it opened. And it's called the Suffolk Theater because it's in Suffolk County on Long Island. And we'll be there. I'll be there playing 1930s music with my little band, the New Yorkers. And it'll be from 4 to 7. It's open to the public. But it's the beginning of a whole new time at this beautiful old movie palace. So it'll be on my Facebook. And it would be great. Anybody who's in the New York area, please come.
Absolutely. I'd like to try to make that. Now, Footlight Parade, 1933, I believe, with James Cagney. Wasn't Ruby Keeler in that also?
Yes, I have that one, and I will watch it before we perform with the film. But yeah, I've always liked that film.
Yeah, and I think it was the first film where we actually, you saw James Cagney actually dance. He's coaching the dancers. But you mentioned this New York band of yours. What did you call it?
Oh, it's Barbra Rosene and her New Yorkers.
And her New Yorkers. So this is different than the Harry James Orchestra.
Oh, yeah, I have my own band that plays 20s and 30s music.
I see.
I have a new CD coming out too, Larry. Sorry to mention that.
No, that's fine. That's sweetie. That's great. I'd like to get one. So that's awesome.
I can arrange that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for having me. Thanks, Ronnie. Thank you, Garrett.
Wait. Before you go running out, okay. I had said that I was going to show you, not that I want to, but I said I was going to show you one of the deleted scenes.
Okay.
But I'm going to let you pick it.
Oh.
Now, here's what I have. We have Baby Doll, which was Gene Kelly singing to Esther Williams.
No.
And then we have Boys and Girls Like You and Me, and that's, Frank singing to Betty.
Well, obviously, I want to see Frank.
Okay. I know it's time to go and everything, but you don't get to see a deleted scene like this every day. This was not in the movie.
No, this will be fun.
And
Hey, I just have to make a recording tomorrow, but I have to do that tomorrow night. But I'll get enough sleep.
Okay. Well, you're recording in Ohio?
I'm recording for an album of spy music, so I'm covering a James Bond song for Your Eyes Only. Believe it or not.
Nice. God, I'd love to hear that. Okay. All right, check this out. And, these two scenes that are deleted, once you see them, you realize, God, they should have left them in. It would have added so much more to the meaning to these relationships. But, all right, check it out.
Okay.
We walk on every city street. We walk in lanes where branches meet. And stars send down their blessings from the blue. We go through storms of doubt and fear, and so we walk from year to year, believing in each other as we do. Bravely marching forward, two by two. Boys and girls like you and me walk beneath the skies. They love just as we love, with that same dream in their eyes. Songs and kings and many things have their day and are gone, but boys and girls like you and me, we go on and on. Songs and kings and lots of things have their day and are gone, but boys and girls like you and me, we
I wanted to share that deleted scene with you. That's all, Barbie.
Oh no, lovely, lovely, and she's darling in it. They should have kept that.
It adds to the relationship, you know.
Yep.
It really does. But anyway, thanks so much, Barbie, and great recording session tomorrow night, and good luck on everything, and hope to see you again in the near future. And if you have a chance, after you sign off and say goodbye, tonight in the I'm going to go right to it, and our Judy Garland segment, Over the Rainbow, or Always Chasing Rainbows, I should say. I'm going to show something from her TV show.
Oh, great.
In 1963, and it's with Barbra Streisand, and that classic scene. I think we've seen it. Everyone's seen it probably 100 times, where Judy and Barbra are singing "Happy," "Happy Days Are Here Again."
I remember it.
Right, and I've showed that before. But what people haven't seen or don't see very often, that wasn't. They also did a medley on that same show.
Okay.
And I'm going to show their medley that they sang together on that show.
Okay, I'll brush my teeth while I watch it.
Okay.
It's 1:30 here, but
okay.
Good night, everybody, and thank you so much.
Good night, Barbie. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. That was funny. Ronnie, let's go to Always Chasing Rainbows. That was fun having Barbie here tonight. As is our custom with every show, we end up with a Judy Garland number or segment, and tonight we're going to show something, as I just mentioned a moment ago, from her TV series. This was in 1963. It was actually taped on October 4th, 1963. She did 26 episodes for CBS, and this was actually episode number 9. It was the 9th show out of the 26, and she had Barbra Streisand on the show. Now, at this time, Streisand was a 21-year-old girl, and Judy was 41, so a 20-year age difference, and it was almost like a passing of the torch. And in that show, there was a classic duet with Streisand and Judy Garland where they sang Happy Days Are Here Again. And it's been, circulated on YouTube and a lot of places, and I think a lot of people are already familiar with that duet. But in the same show, it was it's a 1-hour show. They also performed a medley, and that's what we're going to see here, and that's not seen so very often. So we're going to see Barbra Streisand, a young Barbra Streisand, and she loved Judy Garland. So it's a pretty classic moment in television history. Check it out.
And sing songs and everything right around here.
Well, let's see. There's one thing they can't cut out of the budget, and that's our voices, okay? I do. Let's give it a whirl. Okay. Boy! Love, love, hooray for love. Who was ever too blasé for love? Make this a night for love. If we have to fight, let's fight for love. Some sigh and cry for love. But in Paris, they die for love. Some ways away for love. Just the same, hooray for after you gone and left me crying. After you gone, there's no denying you're gonna feel blue and you're gonna feel sad. You're gonna feel bad and you miss the bestest pal you ever had. And I will just go my way by myself. Here's where the comedy ends. I'll try to deny myself love and laughter and friends. I'll face the unknown. I'll build a world of my own. No one knows better than I myself. I'm by myself. It's wonderful and it's marvelous that you can care for me. what I like to see.
I like New York in June. How about you?
I like a Gershwin or Arlen-tune. How about you?
I like a fireside when a storm is due.
I like potato chips, moonlight, and motor trips. How about you?
And high above the moon was new. So was love. To see the heart of man was singing love. Where can you be? I remember every little thing you used to do. Every road I walk along with you.
And the night and the music thrill me, but will we be two? After the night and the music die, will I have you?
I can be good or bad. It all depends on you.
Me? Oh, I can be humble. I can be proud. I can be lonely out in a crowd. It all depends on you. Yeah, you do.
But I can save money.
Or spend it.
Go right on living.
Or end it.
You're to blame, Judy, for what I do.
I know that I can be bigger. I can be king. I can be almost any old thing. It all depends if we're singing together.
We have found when we're singing together.
The state of the weather turns from gray to blue. Everybody and it all depends on you.
Well, there it is. Another show in the can tonight. I want to thank Barbra Rosene for joining us tonight. She did a fabulous job with us on the movie in the Classic Film Zone. And, hopefully we'll be back here next Thursday night. We'll make a post on our Facebook page to let you know if we're going to be back with a new live show. We're going to certainly try to do that. Although, is next week Thanksgiving? Yeah, we're not going to be back live next Thursday night. That's out. So be maybe the week after. Okay. Well, just remember, we always end with Judy because it's, for me, it's inspirational, and it's called Always Chasing Rainbows, and it's really a metaphor for life. You always want to keep pursuing your dreams, chasing your goals, and always keep chasing those rainbows. Until next week, or until our next show, I'm Larry Megan. Peace, love, and all good things.
Chill with Larry Megan.